this Caprice, I'm going to target 3 difficult passages and give you some tips to help you prepare this etude. In general, if you're having trouble with any technical passage, I would suggest first going and playing it in long tones. You want to emphasize really great tone first before you get into trying to play it up to tempo. So for example, the sequence that happens starting pickups into measure 10, I would just play that slowly. I would play it slowly with the best tone that I can get on every single note, and also just try and be musical with it so that you start to understand the phrasing and how the composer has put together these passages. The next section we're going to look at is measures 22, 23, and 24. Okay, this is tricky to get up to that high G flat without having it sort of scream out. So I would suggest first starting on that E flat that's before it and work up to the softest, most delicate G flat that you can get. I'm going to ascend in half steps. So E flat to E natural, E flat to F natural, E flat to F sharp, all the way up until I get to that high G flat. Once I find that E flat to the high G flat, I went and did a couple repetitions of that. What you want to find out is where your lips need to be in order to get the best sound on that E flat, and then where they need to be, or they need to get to, really, to get that best sound on the G flat. For me, I sort of start with a more neutral position, and then I go out to an oo, where I kiss the lips forward to get that higher G flat. But you have to find where your targets are for each of those. Then I would do the same thing with the A flat that's in measure 24. Next, I would go back and just play this as a long tone. So I'm starting measure 22, and then we'll play for 4 bars. Right now I'm just breathing where I need to be comfortable. Next, I would try and do it a little bit faster. The interesting thing about this etude is that we have many groups of 6 notes. Okay, so for most of this, there are 6 eighth notes per measure. Now, groups of 6 can be broken up into 2 groups of 3, so like triplet, or they can be broken up into 3 groups of 2. So 1 and 2 and 3 and. I would experiment going back and forth, practicing them both ways with different emphasis on the beat so that you figure out which grouping is going to help you best. Now, it's tricky to keep the tempo the same, but you want to try and do that as much as possible. So in measure 22, I'm going to start with 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and put intentional breath accents. I'm going to try not to tongue, but just keep the air moving and use breath accents. Here's what it sounds like. To make it a little bit clearer, we're going to tongue once. Okay, so that was 3 groups of 2. Now I'm going to go triplet, 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 triplet. Ready, go. Again, one more time, we're going to try and take out the tongues now. So, ta, ti, ready, and. Trying to keep the 8th notes the same tempo. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's just the way that I would group it. So as you work through those 2 different groupings, you want to try and figure out which one is going to work best to help you actually play the piece. When you start getting it closer to tempo, I would go from the breath that happens in measure 17, right before that forte. And I think 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Once you feel really comfortable with it, you can think of it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where that sort of, your lips need to move, needs to be in rhythm. Try and get your lips to anticipate that wide leap up to the G flat, and I think you'll have some more success. All right, the next passage that we're going to look at is specifically measures 34, 5, 6, 7 to 38. Okay, the tricky thing here is that they're using a bunch of different triads, and if you know your major chords, this should help you. It helps me to actually write them in. So for example, the first 3 notes in measure 34 make up a C flat major triad, which is also the same as a B major triad. Then we have an F major triad, G flat major triad, C major, D flat major, G major, A flat major, D major, and we end on that B flat. Now, deciding how you're going to use thumb B flat throughout this entire etude is very important. Here at 34, I switch over to thumb B natural. We of course need that for that C flat. And then I keep the thumb B natural on until I switch to the C at the end of 34. Then I go to thumb B flat to play that B flat. My thumb B flat stays on until I get to the D flat in measure 36. And then I stay thumb B natural all the way until the second half of measure 38. Okay, so I play the first, that B flat in measure 38, I play that actually with first finger or the lever. Okay, so let's look at these triads and actually playing them. We're going to play them one triad at a time. So here's C flat, then F major, then G flat major with the thumb B flat, then C major, D flat major, G major, A flat major, D major, and then B flat. Okay, a little faster. Once you feel secure with getting those triads played correctly, you must play it slow enough so that you can get all the notes accurately. Then I would suggest going triplet trip. So down to, you play the first 3 notes plus 1. Okay, so I would play from the G flat to the A. Triplet A da da B, B da da G, G da da F. Here it is. This is a very, very important step in the process. If you don't practice going from chord to chord, making that bridge in the middle of the bar or over the bar line, then you will not be able to put these together. So you must play groups of 3 plus 1. Next, I'm going to try and emphasize the groups of 2. Once you feel comfortable with that, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, da da, dee da, dee da. Okay, so I'm feeling it in groups of 2 now. Here's 34. Ready? And. A little faster. Okay, do not go faster than what you can handle. Okay, it's a gradual process, but if you learn the fingerings correctly in a rhythmic context, that's important, in a rhythmic context, then you will be able to play it at a faster tempo. It will, trust me, it will take much less time if you learn it accurately the first time. Okay, so now let's try and get this with the 4 measures before it. So I'm starting now in, actually I'm going to start at measure 28. 1, 2, 3. This next section at measure 38, I think, is the hardest of the entire etude. It just doesn't fall under the fingers nicely, and for me it's quite tricky. I practice this and actually perform it thinking triplets. So while I'm thinking at 34, 5, 6, 7, I'm thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3. I then switch to quadruplet, triplet, 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 trip. The 8th notes stay the same, so that I'm thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and triplet, triplet, trip. So let me just show you the rhythm here. We're starting on that low E flat. So I think 1, triplet, triplet, 1 to the high E flat. So it's 1. And I'm using thumb B flat here, so it's 1, triplet, triplet, 1. Try and do it with the fingers while you're thinking the rhythm. Here it is, 1, triplet, triplet, 1. Play. Ready, 1. Get the articulation on that E flat. Triplet, triplet, 1. Then I do the next group of 2. Triplet, triplet, G flat. Triplet, triplet, G flat. Ready, and 1. And 1. The next one's a little trickier. We have that octave A flat, so be ready for that. And we go triplet, triplet, G flat, and triplet, triplet, 1, 2, ready, and 1. And 1. So I'm on my thumb B flat for that B flat after the first G flat, but then when I go up to the high A flat, I go D flat, and then on that G flat, you must be on thumb B natural. Okay, you cannot play that G flat with the thumb B flat. Plus, you have that C flat afterwards, so you need to be on thumb B natural here. Okay, back to the G flat. Triplet, triplet, high G flat. Ready, 1. And then we'll finish it off, triplet, triplet. 1. So you could practice these with the rest in between. So I'm going to the beginning of the passage. It's 1. Rest. Rest. I'm going to do that again. 1. And thanks for watching the video. Let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to contact me with any questions or if you need clarification about anything. My email address is below, and happy practicing.